welcome to episode 356 of the All You Can Hear podcast. My name is Wenzel, and joining me today is one of my other Marvel comic accurate co-hosts.
The Sigma? What the Sigma? That's it. Yeah, it's me, Epic Pool. And my name is Colt, really. And I'm pretty excited to talk about what we're talking about today, because let's just say Marvel, we're going to do a clickbait thing. We're going to title this episode something like, Marvel really left a stinky shit on our chest with this one. And or Marvel fucked my wife in front of me thanks to Deadpool. Thanks, Deadpool. Now I'm on the couch for the rest of this marriage.
I don't know. Does he want Deadpool to do that?
I don't know.
It's a cuckold situation. Okay. Or I don't know.
Anything that makes the listener go crazy with excitement and lust? Question mark.
I was gonna say, well, you could do a normal clickbaity thing where it'd be like, I'm thinking Marvel's back.
I mean, that's.
I know. It's very.
You got to get those rage clicks.
I know.
You got to get those.
Deadpool
goes woke.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Or Wolverine, she, her.
What?
There you go.
I just heard it from somebody down the street. I just heard it.
I just heard it, man. That's why I won't watch it. I don't believe in the woke mob, taking over Marvel.
And that I don't believe in the woke mob so much that I watched this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you can probably tell. Not really. Yeah, we don't really give any information how we feel about it right there. But personally, really enjoyed this.
Before we jump to stupid conclusions, okay?
Oh shit, he hated it. It's woke.
Yeah, I don't know why I said stupid. I meant to say before we jump to conclusions, I added stupid. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah. So if you couldn't tell from the episode, we're gonna be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. Just recently came out. This is phase 5 of the MCU. Probably I don't remember the last Marvel thing we even talked about in this fucking podcast.
I don't know. Marvel stuff has been so far in the back of my head. I just haven't really cared. I've only really cared about Deadpool and Wolverine because I saw the trailers whenever we watched the other movies. And I thought the trailer looked really fucking fun.
The trailers looked really good. I will say, though, if you're listening to this, well, no, by the time you probably fucking listen to this, you probably have seen it. So there was actually a trailer that came out the week that it released. Apparently that trailer gives away a lot of shit. If you can avoid that trailer, I would say avoid it, because there's a lot of stuff that they show in there that isn't shown until the second half of the movie, which I think is a crazy thing to put in. But they did, so be careful. But also be careful too, because this episode is going to be full of spoilers. Because by the time this comes out, it will be like a week or 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks since it's come out. So we're going to talk about spoilers.
Yeah, don't watch that trailer, but listen to us spoil it for you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so this is directed by Sean Levy. If you don't know what he's directed Free Guy, all of the Night at the Museums, Cheaper by the Dozen, Real Steel, Pink Panther, Date Night, and Big Fat Liar.
I will say, not a great track record.
I was very surprised when I looked up his history. I was like, what the hell? It's so weird going from these to something as huge as Deadpool and Wolverine. Hey, good for him.
Yeah, I watched Free Guy when it came on something, and I did not like it. I heard Real Steel is not great. I heard the last Night at the Museum sucked. The second one sucked.
Wait,
and the first one was all right.
You haven't seen Real Steel?
No. Real
Steel's fun. Okay, if anybody says Real Steel's bad, fuck them. Real Steel's actually pretty good. The robots are cool as hell. It's a fun, good movie.
Also, Pink Panther sucked.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Also, Adam Project was shit too.
I heard about the Adam Project though. I heard that was actively bad.
Internship sucked. Oh my god, I'm looking at this. Dude, He got lucky with this one. I think the people at Marvel probably helped him out here.
Now I'm looking at all the credits right now. It says directed, written, based, produced, starring, cinematography by Sean Levy.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Damn.
To be fair, in the writing credits, I mean, it's like 5 people. It's Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, Zeb Wells, and Sean Levy. So he definitely had help. No offense to anybody. It's just that the track record is kind of insane.
Yeah. Transformers.
Okay, I guess I'll just go ahead and say a little bit about the cast. I won't say everybody, obviously, because there's a lot of cameos. So obviously Ryan Reynolds is returning as Deadpool. Hugh Jackman is returning as Wolverine, but not the Wolverine you might expect.
Yeah, let's just say he returns as many Wolverines.
And let's just say he's a very comic accurate Wolverine. Yeah. Okay. Emma Corrin as Cassandra Nova, our main antagonist, which I had no idea who that was. She hasn't really been in much, I'm pretty sure. I know she was more famous for her depiction of Princess Diana in The Crown. And then Baccarin, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say her name. She returns as Vanessa, Deadpool's former fiance. Rob Delaney is returning as Peter Wisdom, classic member of the X-Force from Deadpool 2. Leslie Uggams, I hope I'm getting that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Returns as Blind Al, Wilson's blind elderly roommate.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's really all I can say. Matthew McFadden plays another antagonist here. He's kind of secondary though. Well, he's primary and then he becomes secondary. He plays Mr. Paradox, which we'll talk about that later.
Oh fuck! I just realized where I saw Blind Al. Leslie Uggams is American Fiction. She was the mom.
Oh shit, she was.
Yeah.
Wow, she said some not good things as that character.
Yeah,
but it was sad.
It was very sad.
Yeah, and then also just to give a little background info here. So development on a third Deadpool film actually began at Fox in November 2016, but then was placed on hold after. Yeah, I didn't know it was that far back, but it was placed on hold after the studio was acquired by Disney in March 2019. Control of the character was transferred to Marvel Studios, which began developing a new film with Reynolds. It integrates Deadpool from Fox's X-Men film series with MCU, and it retains the R rating from the previous films, making it the first MCU film to have such a rating. At first, they had trouble with writing the story, but then when Hugh Jackman decided to reprise his role as Wolverine in August 2022, that's when they were able to figure out kind of the story for it. And then filming began in May 2023 in England. And then production was suspended in July due to the SAG-AFTRA strike, but resumed in November and wrapped in January of this year.
Damn, that was a quick turnaround.
Yeah. And then the film's title was officially revealed a month later in February.
Damn,
I think February, either that or March.
Yeah, I think it was at the Super Bowl. It was the first time we saw the trailer for it.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, this movie has a runtime of 128 minutes, so it's a little over 2 hours. And the budget was $200 million. This movie did just come out, but the current box office is $211.1 million. So it's already starting to make it back, obviously.
Yeah, just to give you an idea what day it is, it's the 27th. It came out 2 days ago.
Yeah, and we watched
it 1 day ago, technically.
We watched it Thursday night premiere. Damn, that is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
But you know what can I expect? So yeah, let's just get into it. What we usually do for these reviews now is we'll just tell you the summary, the plot, what's happening, talk about, as we go through our scenes and any jokes or anything that we anything of notoriety that we want to talk about as we're going through the story. And yeah, and of course there's going to be big spoilers. So if you don't want to hear those spoilers, or if you want to, then here we go. We're getting right into it. So back in Deadpool, oh my God. Also too, I don't know. This is something I forgot to fucking look up. If there's any spoilers for Loki here, I don't know. There might be one spoiler for a certain character, but other than that, there's not really any spoilers for Loki.
I mean,
here.
if there's no spoilers for us, then fuck it. There's no spoilers for anyone because I can't think of anything that was really fucking spoiler other than maybe the fucking trailer for Captain America movie, but that's not this.
We're not talking about trailers. Fucker.
I know. I'm just saying that trailer. I didn't fucking know that Falcon had super serum.
Oh yeah, there's nothing we can do about that because that was shown in the trailer. If anybody knows about that, well, we didn't know. Whenever we see fucking oh god, I can't remember the actor's name. Anthony Mackie.
Anthony, yes, he's so devious. He's always looking like he's about to laugh.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we get on to the plot, as soon as Anthony Mackie comes on screen, Colt just says he's so devious, just out loud, just like he's so devious, like.
I mean, do you not see the way he's smiling at you? Like he's got something to say.
No. I forgot about that joke, but whenever you said that, I remembered. It's just so funny. We didn't know he had super serum because we see Anthony Mackie throw a fucking table across like a room in a hallway. It was insane. So that's pretty crazy. Dude has wings, has the shield, and has super serum. Fuck, man.
Already a better Captain America, if you ask me.
Goddamn. And if anybody doesn't know about the controversy with that film, you can go look it up. It's pretty crazy.
But we're not here to talk about that movie. I thought it was something.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, so yeah, the plot is for this film is back in 2018. If nobody emerged from Deadpool 2 at the very end, Deadpool uses Cable's time traveling machine to travel around the timeline, change some things. This Earth, the original Earth that he's on, I believe, because I'm still kind of confused by this, and I'm sorry if I am, but the original Earth is Earth 10,005. That's his Earth. Yeah, I'm not confused. I think I'm getting this right. And then he goes to Earth 616, which is known as a sacred timeline, where he meets Happy Hogan and requests to join the Avengers, but he is rejected. I should mention, okay, no, we'll get to that. So there's actually a beginning sequence, and what I just said kind of explains how we got to that sequence, but sorry, I'm kind of getting all over the place. But anyway, so 6 years later passed. So this is 2024. Wilson has retired from being the mass mercenary known as Deadpool and is working as a used car salesman after breaking up with his girlfriend, Vanessa. During his birthday party, the TVA captures Wilson and brings him to Mr. Paradox, who offers him a place on Earth 616. However, Paradox also reveals that Wilson's timeline is deteriorating as a result of the death of Wolverine, or if you remember from the film Logan, that Wolverine, who is revealed to be the timeline stabilizing anchor being. Wilson steals Paradox's tempad to travel to the multiverse to find a variant of Logan to save his timeline. The reason he does this is because whenever he offers him a place on Earth 616, he's giving up Earth 10,005. Part of this is that Mr. Paradox is making a machine known as the Time Ripper to purposefully be able to instantly destroy a timeline rather than letting it decay naturally over time. Deadpool obviously doesn't want this because he has he's enjoying his life on his original timeline. I do think it's interesting, the whole thing about anchor beings. I don't know if that was something that was introduced in Loki season 2 or anything, but I do think that's kind of funny that's kind of a certain plot device that I think kind of erases everything that happens with the Fox properties.
The thing with the Fox stuff is I feel like out of all the characters in all those movies, Wolverine was the most important. He was the most on screen of the mutants.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, he's like Deadpool himself says, he is the X-Man, Yeah. So it makes sense. No, I'll talk about it later, but that whole concept, I think, is a very interesting story tool that they use. Wilson goes across the multiverse encountering different various Logan variants, and we'll go ahead and talk about those right now. The first one he meets is a very comic accurate Logan. It is a Logan, or a Hugh Jackman, that has been shrunk down to very, very small size and is very hairy.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. The way he jumps off that bar stool and it's like a 1 foot drop for him. Crazy.
But then I'm pretty sure he starts kicking Deadpool's ass. I want to say.
Oh, I mean, I
Maybe-
think he was like coming towards him because he said something mean to him because he was so short. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you have fun with that, little boy." Basically,
This is because there's a cool scene that this plot summary doesn't have. It's literally the very beginning of the movie where it's not only a fight scene, but it's a dance number where Deadpool, because he thinks that since Wolverine has a very, he has a similar regenerative ability, Deadpool's is, though, if I'm wrong, I'm fairly certain I know that Deadpool's is better, but he goes to dig up Logan's grave from the film, because he thinks that he still has his regenerative ability just a little bit, so he might be still a little alive. And then as soon as he digs up his grave, he immediately yells "fuck" because he finds a fucking adamantium skeleton with some skin on it, because Logan is very clearly, definitely fucking dead.
it's pretty fucking awesome
It's
the
so
way that they
funny.
did this scene.
Because then that's when the TVA, that's when we kind of have like a little jump of like the TVA coming to jump him, and when they do jump him, he uses Logan's adamantium skeleton to kill all these agents. It was so fucking cool, dude. It's an insane opening sequence. Like, we get the credits as he's using the fucking bones to beat the shit and kill all these guys. Holy fuck, dude. He uses Logan's skull and spine as like a flail. Oh my god, it's insane.
I'm hoping
so cool.
Marvel sees the reaction to this kind of action and says, "You know what? The kids crave blood and violence. We should give it to them more," because the amount he used every single bone that Wolverine had to kill a man or men. It was fucking crazy.
He pulled, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's all metal, so whenever he pulls off his fingers, I mean, he uses those as fucking throwing knives. He's even able to use Logan's claws that he rigged to his arms, very briefly, but very brutally, because he stabs one guy in the ass, and then he stabs another guy in his dick, and it looks like him fisting a guy's ass while jerking off another guy. But the guys are screaming in pain. It's pretty brutal.
But before that's when it shows us the flashback of him trying to get into Earth 616 and all that shit we just talked about.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Oh, and then when he's at, god damn, I forgot. There's so much shit that they put in. So when he's at the TVA and they're like, oh yeah, you get to be a superhero again. So there's a part in there where he gets to go to their tailor to get his suit redone. It's like a montage of them doing the fitting, but then he zips up his pants and then he cups his balls a little bit, slaps his ass, but then he does it like 4 or 5 more times. It's just super fast. It's pretty cool though. As he gets adamantium katanas, he gets adamantium like short knives, blades, and whatever. New Desert Eagles. It's pretty cool. And then whenever he comes out of there, immediately he goes to Mr. Paradox. He's like, "Your tailor's a predator."
Yeah, it was just threw me for a loop because I just wasn't expecting. I was thinking like it's just a bit high, he's smacking his butt, but no, fuck, it was a pretty good fucking bit.
It's a pretty like it comes back around. And then there's another fucking guy who works at the TVA who Deadpool keeps making fucking remarks to him, saying that like, oh, he's about to give it all up because I look so good, because he looks so good in his suit. And then at some point when Deadpool does a cool like exit out of there, he's falling on this guy ass first. And this guy is like, he's about to give it all up to get a face full of Deadpool's ass. And he doesn't get it though, because he has Paradox's temp pad, so he teleports as soon as he gets right on top of him. I'm trying to think, was there any other crazy shit in there? No, it's just insane. But back to the Wolverines though. One of the Wolverines he comes across is Wolverine I did not expect, and I vaguely remember people wanting this. Was his name is Cavalrine. Anybody want to guess what that means?
cavalry. It's a horse.
It's a horse Wolverine, yes. His hooves are made of adamantium. It was insane.
Hold up. Let him cook. That sounds pretty sick.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I came up with that right on the spot, buddy. Right on the fucking spot. And it's awesome. No, it's Henry Cavill.
Which I still don't see it. When I think Henry Cavill, I think of a tall, muscle man that is nowhere near the size of a Wolverine should be. We just need a short person, a short, buff, chode of a person to play Wolverine.
Yeah, I bet people love that description.
Yeah, that's what
Really?
Wolverine is, a chode.
No, what?
He's kind of a dick, so he's a chode.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That's not the description I would use, though.
Okay, all right. He's a little asshole penis man.
No,
that feel better?
You're saying chode, but you're making it sound like he's a fat dick. That's what I'm getting at here.
He's a buff. Chode is not necessarily fat. Chode is muscle, cock meat muscle. Are we understood?
No, I think you're fucking stupid.
No.
That's what I think.
The listeners understand what I'm saying.
You think? Oh my God. Okay. Regroup. We're regrouping. Fuck. Okay. Whatever. I'm just so.
Still, Henry Cavill never.
So
he shouldn't be Wolverine. But it was funny for the bit.
Oh, it was very fun. How tall is Hugh Jackman? I'm curious now.
He's tall. Maybe average. I want to say like 5'11", 5'10", maybe 6'2".
He's 6'2".
Yeah.
Oh, comic Wolverine is supposed to be 5'3".
Yeah, he's a short dude.
I know he's fucking short, but I wouldn't call him a fucking chode.
You wouldn't call him a chode? Well, I would.
Well, okay, what context has anybody ever used to refer to somebody to chode is when they're referring to a small, muscular dude.
A small, muscular dude that is also a dick.
No.
I'm the first person. I'm the founder of this statement. I say anybody that is short, super muscular, and is also an asshole, also a dick, is a chode.
Okay.
I'm claiming it right here. This is official. Wiki, hit me up. Put me as credit. This is it.
Okay, I understand that. If you're making the first claim to this, okay, fine. Anyway, so yeah, no. I mean, I definitely do see what you're saying though with having these really tall actors. It's really tough, to get specifically that height. I want to say like 5'3", like it's really short. Like how many actors are 5'3" and like, fairly muscular?
Not many, because tall people get more chances in Hollywood. We need to get the short kings, as the people say on the internet. Get the short people in there. Get the tall ladies. We don't have many tall ladies. Get every single opposite of what's normal in Hollywood. We get so many short women, so many tall men. Let's get the opposite of those on the spectrum.
Hell yeah. I definitely get that, Colt. Hell yeah, that I understand. All right, I agree.
And we'll call them tall fucks and short fucks.
I was about to say, wait a minute. As somebody who is short, I agree. Anyway, what were the other Wolverines? There was a Wolverine from there was a one-handed Wolverine from the Age of Apocalypse storyline from the 1990s. That was super sick.
Was that the one in the chair?
No, he was the one that was in it was an alleyway that was on fire, and he was yeah, him. There was a suave Wolverine in a white suit called Patch. That's the secret identity that Logan takes when he's doing undercover work.
Yeah, I've seen that Wolverine before in a comic. I just don't know where.
Yeah, same. There's a cowboy-esque version of Old Man Logan, which is more similar to what he looks like in the comics. There is the brown costume Wolverine from 1987's Incredible Hulk number 340, where he fights the Hulk. And as he's doing this, Deadpool realizes this, and then he turns around to see Hulk right behind him and gets thrown into a fucking tree.
There was that one with the giant X and the planet, or the bunch of bloody skulls. I feel like that's something.
Yeah, no. So that one is the it's a cover of Uncanny X-Men number 251. That's just a cover.
Is it related to the story, or is it just like, this looks cool, let's put it on the cover?
It's just the cover.
Oh, Okay.
It might be to really the story, but they said it says right here it recreates the cover. So I assume it's just the cover. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know,
It looks cool. I'm looking at the cover now.
It looks cool. It's literally Wolverine on a giant X cross crucified while there's just a ocean of skulls and blood. It was pretty crazy. And Deadpool, if I was him, I'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, he's like, you're just not the one I'm looking for, as he's moaning at him.
Oh, they're all dead. They're all dead.
Yeah, it was just a super fun sequence with all those little Wolverines, even the little cameo.
Yeah, and then after finally going through all these variants, he does find one. It's the one that we see in the trailers, the one where he's in a bar and he gets the whiskey dick of the claws, as Deadpool says, and he takes him back to the TVA. And when he does, though, he takes off his top layer of clothes because his underneath it is his actual more comic accurate Wolverine suit that people have been wanting forever. But this is where Deadpool learns that the Logan that he's brought back is considered the worst Wolverine in the multiverse. And then there's an argument. Paradox prunes them, and they both go into the void. And if nobody remembers from Logan, or if nobody knows from Loki season 1, the void is basically where TVA sends certain like time anomalies or beings or variants of other characters who they believe shouldn't exist or whatever. They take them out, they remove timelines, and that's where they all converge in this basically its own alternate dimension where it's its own universe. Basically, it's just called the void. So they're in the void and they're knocked out, but then Wolverine wakes up before Deadpool, and immediately he grabs Deadpool with his claws, sticks him in his sides, and holds him up. They're trying to figure out what to do, and then he stabs him in the dick, and then breaks his back.
Yeah, pretty fucking brutal. I mean, he's a regenerator, so he'll be fine. But Jesus Christ,
it's still not fun.
Yeah.
So then, but then there's a bunch of people coming, and then they see a mysterious stranger wrapped up in a cloak, tell them that they're coming. Who's coming? It's Cassandra Nova's people, and this guy, he very clearly sounds like a certain Captain America. And when he points, he has rope tied around where he would have his shield. There's a little bit of red underneath it. It's just like, oh my gosh. Even Deadpool knows who it is. It's like, it's him. It's the dude. Because he even says, like, he even says to him that you're not going to like what you're going to have to see because, Deadpool thinks very highly of Captain America. He thinks he's a pure, pure hero. So, so then this mysterious stranger who we assume is Captain America does a hero landing, and they're getting sworn by these guys, and he's like, all right, we're about to see a really cool fight. Deadpool's about to lead him into saying Avengers assemble, and as soon as he says Avenger, he immediately takes off his hood and he says flame on. And it's freaking Chris Evans as Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four forever ago.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up because immediately I was in like, it was like whiplash because it was strange how they did him. It looked like young Chris Evans. It didn't look like Chris Evans as Captain America. Like, because when I think Captain America, I see Chris Evans as a younger, buffer, but this Chris Evans was he looked young.
Yeah,
and it was skinny.
It was definitely like a more early 2000s Chris Evans. And I mean, if they did do like maybe some kind of that what they do with making actors look young or whatever. I mean, they did a pretty good job because I mean he still has his voice and everything. So it sounds and looks like him. But it was No, I don't think they did. I think that was legit Chris Evans. I think it's just a little bit of Hollywood movie magic whenever they show him in Captain America being as big as buff as he is.
He's also been out of the MCU for a good bit, so
yeah,
just shrunk.
Yeah, and no, it was crazy because I mean I did not expect Chris Evans to come back on for Johnny Storm. that was crazy. And it's so funny because when he takes off his cloak and everything, like all the stuff that he had on beforehand that gave any indication that he was Captain America just came off. It was the original Fantastic Four suit. Not original, but pretty close. But of course, whenever he tries to fight, he gets his heat absorbed away by Pyro, which, if nobody knows what that is, Pyro is a mutant. He can't create his own flames. He can absorb flames and control them, but he can't create his own. But yeah, he's able to absorb his flames, and then he falls to what we thought was his death because he falls really far, but he doesn't die. He just gets knocked out. And then Wolverine has a standoff with his brother Sabretooth, which, give me a second, because it's Tyler Mane as Sabretooth from X-Men 2000. I didn't realize it was that Sabretooth. I had forgotten that's what he looked like in that movie.
Yeah, he looked free. Was it the same actor?
Shit.
Shit, I'm asking too many questions. God damn it.
Yeah, same actor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looked like an old man.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, because I'm looking at this, it's like several of the actors did reprise their roles and some didn't. Yeah, they have a face off, but Wolverine wins immediately. He just cuts off his head, and then we get a Furiosa joke, which is really freaking funny because it's just Deadpool holding Sabretooth's head, saying, behold your precious Queen Furiosa.
Yeah, it's funnier because Furiosa just came out, but they're referencing Fury Road here.
A bunch of the vehicles are Mad Max-esque.
They're all old MCU vehicles from throughout the history. Yeah,
there's one vehicle that specifically looks like, or that's trying to mimic the guitar guy from Fury Road. But there was also one vehicle that was also the Fantastic Four like hover car thing, which was really cool. And yeah, but they're eventually captured and taken back to Cassandra Nova, her lair, which is just a giant skeleton of Ant-Man. There is a moment though where they're talking to Johnny Storm, and he's kind of telling them about where they're going and what's happening, and then we kind of get cut from that to them getting to the lair.
And Johnny Storm's warning Deadpool, saying like, this person's very dangerous, got to be careful. That's all he said. That we saw.
That's all he said. He said
that we saw.
That she's dangerous, she's demented. That's it. It's all we saw. And if you don't know who Cassandra Nova is, that is the twin sister of Charles Xavier, who she was pruned as an infant and was put into the Void, but she made a deal with the TVA to stay in the Void. Yeah, and then as they're talking to Cassandra Nova, too, we see a bunch of different they're mostly mutants from the past X-Men movies. To give you an idea, I'm going to go through, like I said before, Tyler Mane reprises his role as Sabretooth. We do have Aaron W. Reed playing Juggernaut, but it's not the same Juggernaut. It's just he resembles his appearance in X-Men Last Stand. Mike Waters as the Blob. Billy Clements is playing the Russian from Punisher, if anybody remembers that. Who that is, the very famous striped shirt. And then we have a bunch of undisclosed actors. So playing Toad, Lady Deathstrike, Callisto, Azazel, Bullseye, and Psylocke. I didn't know there was a Bullseye. I thought that was pretty crazy. But they were doing the Bullseye. It's not the same actor. They're doing the Bullseye from the Ben Affleck Daredevil film. Yeah, so I thought there was more actors reprising their roles, but no, these were some of the characters though that, if anybody remembers from the X-Men films, like Azazel from X-Men First Class, Psylocke, she I don't think this is the same. This was the Olivia Munn Psylocke, I could be wrong.
I don't
know.
think
That
it was. I did notice Psylocke, but I don't think it was her.
Yeah. Okay, I'm reading an article right here. It says May. I don't know how to say her last name, but Dania Ramirez are both came back as Psylocke and Callisto from X-Men Last Stand.
Okay.
Because I didn't know if there was a Psylocke in one of the other X-Men films. I know the Psylocke from X-Men Apocalypse, which is Olivia Munn. But yeah, mostly unrecognized, as it says right here, unrecognizable or newer actors are returning. I think Ray Park was playing Toad, which that's pretty cool.
I don't even know who Toad is.
Toad was the guy with the long tongue.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The only guy who could be Toad.
I don't know. He could be Freaky Man.
That's true. He could be Freaky Man. But yeah, there are some more cameos later that we'll get into, but right now those are the little minor ones that I thought were pretty neat. And again, I just think it's funny, like all these characters being thrown into the void because they're from properties that not no longer, but they don't really serve the MCU. So, I mean, I think that's a clever story way to get rid of them, I guess. But yeah. And so Deadpool does this whole bit where he talks about Johnny Storm saying just absolutely rancid things about Cassandra Nova on their way to there, and Wolverine's telling him to shut up because you're gonna get him killed. You're gonna get the kid killed. Nova rips his skin off. It's pretty brutal, and he's just some bones and organs. Rest in peace.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking crazy. They just collapsed to the ground, which I don't think would happen, but it was still cool for the effect.
Yeah. Wait, are you saying it's not accurate?
Yeah, it's not accurate. The muscles would keep the structure. You just be screaming in pain, and the bones are still there too.
Yeah, let's talk about scientific accuracy with this.
Yes, we should. Bald people don't have superpowers.
Okay, that's actually true. That's true. So if you're bald, I'm sorry.
Can't have them. It's just the way it is.
But anyway, so after that, Deadpool and Wolverine realize they're outmatched at the moment, so they before they get consumed by Alioth. If nobody remembers who Alioth is this giant dog-like cloud that eats up anything in the void, which is how they permanently get rid of shit in there. But they manage to escape. Following their escape, Wolverine and Deadpool meet a variant of Deadpool called Nice Pool. He wears a little bit different armor, but he doesn't wear a mask. He doesn't have to because he doesn't have a fucked up face, and he has long hair and a man bun.
But before we met Nice Pool, we met the best Deadpool. The
best version of Deadpool, which is Nice Pool is the owner of. It's Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins?
Poppins.
Oh, it's not Mary Poppins? That's better.
Why would it be Mary? That's stupid. It's Mary Poppins.
He's a dog. She's a dog. Waff waff.
I don't get it. Mary Poppins? That doesn't make any sense. Mary Poppins. And she's just a very ugly in a cute way dog who also wears a little Deadpool costume.
And also makes out with Deadpool.
Has a long tongue. Very, very cute. The dog actor name is, oh shit, it is Puppets.
Guess what I fucking thought.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll cut that out. I'll make it seem like Cole's just crazy.
Oh my god.
Wow. I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking wrong. My bad. Mary Poppins, aka Dogpool. The dog actor's name is Peggy. I think it's a perfect name for her.
Yeah, she looks like a Peggy.
She looks like a Peggy. And yeah, so very cute. Deadpool the entire time does not want to give her up. He tries to at some point run away with her, but they're in a cornfield and the corn is too thick, so he can't run away with her.
Yeah, Wolverine's being a bitch and you give the goddamn dog back.
I mean, it's not his dog. What can he do?
I mean, what if something were to happen to Nice Pool?
I will say Nice Pool is a terrible owner because she keeps running away from him. And who does she go to? She goes to Deadpool.
That's true.
That's just saying. So yeah. So Nice Pool, because he is nice, gives them a car. It's a Honda Odyssey. They drive to the Void's Borderlands, where there is supposedly a resistance against Nova. Also, too, he does mention there is a core of Deadpool, the Deadpool core. They're pretty crazy. But at some point while they're driving, they stop the car because Deadpool promised Wolverine earlier that the TVA could potentially fix what had happened to his timeline. But he makes a blunder and says that he hopes that they can fix what, basically giving away to the fact that he kind of was that he was kind of lying, that he doesn't really know if they can, which is true. We don't. That's probably not something that can happen, or we don't know. It leads to a very cool fight with them beating the shit out of each other and completely messing up the car, but the car is still running. It can still run. It was crazy. And we get also a brutal, like, short little monologue of Wolverine basically just chastising Deadpool. It's pretty good.
Yeah, he absolutely goes in on his little punk ass and he says, "We're fighting now."
Yeah, which Deadpool's the one that wanted to start it. He was like, "We're just gonna fight," because he had nothing to say. And then after the fight, I think Wolverine wrapped Deadpool up in the seat belts to keep him from moving. So it was pretty great. Like I said, it was a brutal fight, and we do see somebody take the car and drive them to the lair of the Resistance fighters, who we get some crazy cameos. Again, we get 4 cameos. One of them was actually spoiled in the trailer, the most recent trailer that I was talking about, which is why I say avoid it. But 3 of them, we had no idea. The first person we freaking get is Wesley Snipes' Blade, out of all people.
Who was the one was he the one that was spoiled in the trailer?
No. I'll tell
Okay.
who that is. I'll tell who that is later. Then we get Julia Garner Elektra, which, Colt, you were right. She had her own movie. I had forgotten there was an Elektra movie.
Yeah, it just didn't release for some reason.
And she's from Ben Affleck's Daredevil, if nobody remembers. And then another person who the movie never got made. He was just simply casted. That's it. It is Channing Tatum as Gambit. Doing a very terrible Cajun patois.
I don't know. I couldn't understand him, similar to how I can't understand normal Cajun accents. So it's pretty accurate in that aspect.
It was crazy because there was a part in there where also too, Blade is just saying shit.
Blade's fucking awesome. That's just Wesley Snipes. Everybody knows the iconic story in one of the Blade movies. I can't remember, where he refused to open his eyes, so had to CGI his eyes open for a scene and it looked fucking horrible. I'm just thinking that for this movie, he's like, "Fuck it, dude. I'm gonna do whatever I want. Marvel's giving me that money to come back."
It's so funny because whenever Blade, Wesley Snipes says there's only ever going to be one Blade, which Deadpool immediately looks into the camera. There's a part in there where I can't remember what Deadpool originally says. He says a word, but then Wesley Snipes' Blade says, "Did you just call me the?" He says
no. He just says R word ? But he doesn't say R word. He says the full word. I think Deadpool maybe said retired or something.
Retired. He said, "I thought you retired," but then Wesley Snipes said, "Are you calling? Did you say I'm R word?" Which we did not expect that. Again, we didn't expect anything. But holy shit!
It was a crazy use of it. But you know what? It was funny as shit.
It was so stupid. And then Elektra, it was so funny because they're talking about all the characters who have died, who were part of the Resistance. She talks about how her Daredevil died because he was trying to fight against Cassandra, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we're gonna avenge him." And she's like, "No, that's fine." I forgot that Julia Garner was married to Ben Affleck at some point. So it's kind of a play on that, where she doesn't give a fuck what happens to Ben Affleck. And then Gambit is making so many fucking jokes because he talks about how like I don't even know where I'm from. I think I've always been here in the void, because his movie never got made. So he technically never existed. So it's just so funny. And then at some point he talks about being born, but he says one of the best jokes. One of the best lines I've ever heard of a movie ever. It's probably one of my favorites. It's he just says, "I popped out of my daddy's dick and said, 'Hey, what's up, Doc?'"
He says way more than that, but since he's speaking in such a wild accent, I have no clue what he's saying. He
No,
kept talking about birth and stuff.
That line. I'm pretty confident. I'm saying verbatim. He says, "I popped out of my daddy's dick and say, 'What's up, doc?'"
Yeah, but he continued to go on for like 2 more sentences.
No, you're right. It's just that line in particular. I love. It's so funny. It's so stupid. It's and then not only that, Deadpool even says, he's like, "Was your dialect coach the Minions?"
He did, which is fucking funny.
It's so perfect because it sounds like he's not saying anything, and I don't think he is. I think he's trying to do a Cajun patois accent, but he's just saying gibberish. It's so bad. Good. And then finally, the fourth member of this team, who was the one who drove them here, was Laura, played by Daphne Keane. She's reprising her role as X-23 for this. She was the one that was spoiled in the trailer.
I mean, if anything's spoiled, I'm glad it would be her because the others are, I feel like, bigger surprises.
Yeah,
especially
that's
Gambit fair. And Blade.
Because to be fair, I want to say Daphne Keane was at some of the press, but at certain things, I think there's pictures of her at certain things with Hugh Jackman or with Ryan Reynolds or something. So I feel like it was kind of hinted at that she'd be in here, but either way, it's still a spoiler. And it's the same one. It's the one from Earth to 10,005. So yeah. And they're just called, this resistance is called the Others by Deadpool. Which they align themselves because they want to fight against Nova, and but Logan Wolverine is the only one that doesn't want to do anything. He's just kind of giving up hope, of course, because he eventually talks about what happened in his universe. He talks about with Laura, his inability to save the X-Men in his universe. He basically, this is where I kind of wish we had subtitles because I didn't really understand what he was saying. He said something along the lines of like he didn't want to become part of the X-Men. He didn't join the X-Men. And so whenever he was away from the mansion, humans came and killed all of them. I think that's what he said, but I assume maybe they're talking about Sentinels. The Sentinels came and killed all of the X-Men, and then when he came back, he found them all dead.
Which doesn't sound possible because if the mutants wanted to, in my opinion, I feel like they could kill anyone that's human.
See, that's the thing. I have to assume maybe I misheard, but like I have to assume they meant Sentinels, because the Sentinels are the only ones who are able to combat the mutants. I don't know. I would have to rewatch this, which to be fair, I would very much like to rewatch Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes, it was a fucking hilarious fucking movie with awesome action scenes.
Yeah. And Laura, through this conversation, Laura is we kind of are able to get this kind of idea that maybe she's kind of convincing him because he says towards the end of their conversation that he's the wrong guy. Laura says, "You were always the wrong guy until you were the right guy." So I think I will say in terms of like those emotional story beats, this movie does hit them. Despite all the comedy, when it hits those emotional beats, it hits them. The conversation with Wolverine in the car, this conversation with Laura, some stuff later. I mean, like it's kind of a well-rounded movie. Yeah, so they go to the lair with everybody, and this is where they confront Nova. There's a huge fight scene. Their idea is to get Juggernaut's helmet because it's the only thing that can stop or block her powers, because Magneto's helmet was melted down. There was a Magneto in this void, but gone. He's dead. And so yeah, so they fight. It's a pretty brutal, or it's pretty cool fight scene, especially with Gambit. Channing Tatum going off with his powers was pretty cool.
Yeah, it made me want a new adaptation of X-Men stuff because I just want to see like Gambit in action again.
I want to watch the animated X-Men show.
Yes.
And so yeah, and as they're fighting, Laura is able to get Juggernaut's helmet to them. She cuts off his head. And as they're able to get her helmet on, Nova is betrayed by Pyro, shoots her in the stomach. But as they're trying to figure out what to do, because she's the only one who they think can get them out of the void, Wolverine tells Deadpool just to take off the helmet and allowing Nova to heal. And in this moment too, we get another kind of really good emotional story beat where Logan says like, if Xavier knew what happened to you, if he knew about you, he would do everything he could to find you, to help you or whatever, because Nova is crazy, but there is, a part of her that they can at least kind of relate to. And as they do that, she does kind of make a bargain where, since you guys saved her life, she'll let you escape. And she pulls out a sling ring from I assume she killed maybe a Doctor Strange or maybe somebody from one of the sorcerers. She opened the portal back to Deadpool's timeline, and yeah, they leave. And also too, hold on, let me find it. Apparently Blade makes a line at this moment where is apparently a very iconic line from one of his other from one of the Blade movies. It's been so long since I've seen Blade, I couldn't remember, but it's a callback. He said, as Deadpool and Wolverine are flying into the portal, he says, "Some motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill."
Yeah, it goes hard.
And it's so crazy because at this moment, Goliath comes in, and we don't really know what happens to everybody at this moment. But yeah, so they get to Earth 10,005. Deadpool and Wolverine find that Mr. Paradox is that's where he's constructing his Time Ripper, and he's about to use it to mercy kill timelines, including this one. And should mention too, Paradox is working off without permission from his superiors, off the grid, basically. Nova too is talking to Pyro and getting all this information out of his mind, and so she comes to the same timeline and does this so that she can kidnap Paradox, because she wants to take control of the Time Ripper. Also too, Nova does this thing where when she gets into people's minds, she has to put her whole hand into their mind. It's pretty crazy. It's like some trippy body horror.
But at the same time, in my opinion, I think it looks like it feels good because it looks like she's like massaging the brain. I feel like that'd feel nice.
No, it was crazy because whenever we're watching this, I told Colt this, and I I said, you know what, this is gonna stay between us and this theater, but you know what, it's gonna, the audience and me, this is gonna stay between us and this podcast. But gotta say, she's kind of hot.
Yeah, come and smash my brain with your hands.
No, there was a part in there where it was insane line to hear, because this is the same, this is the MCU, but as they're trying to figure out whether or not to take off her helmet, they're like, okay, we're gonna take off your helmet. She's like, yeah, take off my helmet, but then I'm gonna kill you guys, and as you're dying, or as I'm killing you, or after I kill you, I'm gonna flick my bean. Like, wow. did not expect that. That's crazy imagery. But yeah, anyway, so they're trying, Nova's trying to get, or she's getting control of the Time Ripper, and Deadpool and Wolverine are trying to stop her. And as they're trying to stop her, she summons the Deadpool Corps, who go to stop them, and we get a crazy, get tons and tons of Deadpools. Obviously, we get to see Mary Poppins and Nice Pool again. But before we get into that, I want to say who were some of the most notable Deadpools. So I was right. This is something I did assume was Blake Lively maybe being Lady Deadpool. She was actually the voice of Lady Deadpool, and then it was an uncredited stunt woman who did her.
Okay.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know, Blake Lively is Ryan Reynolds' wife. Ryan Reynolds and Lively's children, Inez and Olin Reynolds, are Kidpool and Babypool, respectively. Nathan Fillion plays Headpool, the floating head Deadpool. Matthew McConaughey does the voice for Cowboy Pool.
Oh, okay.
Wrexham AFC player Mal Poland was the Welsh Pool. If you don't know, Ryan Reynolds and Robin McElhenney.
Rob McElhenney. They
bought a Welsh football team, Wrexham, and there's even a documentary / show about it on FX. He's one of the Paul Mullen is one of the players on the team. He was a Deadpool that had the Welsh flag on his chest. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Ryan Reynolds' stunt double was Canada Pool. There's also a bunch of other Deadpools that we don't really have anything for. There was Watari the Fool, which was I assume the samurai or Ronin Deadpool.
Yeah, he got his little fucking tiny hands after the action sequence.
Yeah. Deadpool 2099, Golden Age Deadpool, Zen Pool, Pirate Pool, and Welsh Knight Pool.
I did not notice that one.
I didn't notice that one either. Apparently, Rob is also from Always Sunny, if nobody knows who that is. He was actually a TVA soldier, but they cut out his cameo.
Yeah, he tweeted about that, and he's probably gonna be really mad at his husband because of that.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, and then this is where too we get the reveal of Wolverine has his classic helmet, cowl, whatever you want to call.
Did you bring up how Nice Pool goes?
Oh my god. Okay, so Nice Pool comes up to Deadpool with Mary Poppins. Of course, Deadpool has Mary Poppins, and she's licking them all over. They love each other. And because Deadpool makes a bunch of fourth wall breaks and stuff. Nice Pool is like, well, I can do that too. He looks at the camera and just says the proposal.
Deadpool's just like, what the fuck was that? That's not what I do.
Like, what do you think I do? So it's really funny. I'm trying to think of what else he says. Do you remember anything that he says besides what happens next?
Not really.
Okay. There's so many. I will say there's so many jokes in this movie. My mind is kind of overloaded because I'm trying to remember everything while I'm trying to explain the story. It's crazy. But they go. So the Deadpool Corps come out, and Wolverine and Deadpool head for cover. Nice Pool gets shot multiple times, and Deadpool grabs him. And as he grabs Nice Pool, he's getting shot as he's running to cover. And they're sitting there talking to Nice Pool, and they're like, "Okay, you'll be fine. Just regenerate." But Nice Pool doesn't have the regenerative factor. That's why his face isn't messed up either. That never occurred to me until that moment. I was like, that's why he can't, that's why he has the nice face, is because he can't regenerate. And they're like, oh, or Deadpool's like, oh no. Well, see that hot dog stand over there? It has a med kit. They're known for that. I'm going to get you to that hot dog stand and you're going to live.
The whole time Wolverine's like, no, that's not, no, they don't sell those. Okay.
And Wolverine's holding Mary Poppins. So he picks up Nice Pool, and as he's running across, he goes he doesn't go fast, and then he stops in the middle as he's getting unloaded on, and he's trying to tell him, I'm gonna save you. You're gonna make it out of here alive. But then Nice Pool gets his head blown up, and then that's when Deadpool runs to the hot dog stand, and then so they stop firing, and then Wolverine gets up with Mary Poppins. And everybody has their guns out, and Deadpool says, "Wait! Don't shoot. It's a good old doggy." I don't know if that's exactly what he says, but that's pretty much what he says. And they don't fire as Wolverine takes a leisurely walk across the screen holding Mary Poppins because he is safe.
They don't want to hurt Mary Poppins, and you know what? I respect him for that.
I respect it. I respect it so much. Everybody put their guns away. They were cool, man. They were cool. And so he walks up to him, and as he walks up to Deadpool, Deadpool's trying to resuscitate Nice Pool. He's like, live, come on, breathe. Blood squirting everywhere. Oh my god. I can't remember what he says. Deadpool says something, and Wolverine responds with, no, murder is what killed him. It's really
and in
good.
the end, he gets some pretty sick golden plated Desert Eagles.
That was something also too Deadpool wanted from him, was his gold plated Desert Eagles, which were super sick. And this is where we get the reveal of Wolverine's mask and this cool kind of one shot action sequence of them going down the street, killing all these Deadpools, just massacre. It's awesome. It's super sick. Of course, Mary Poppins runs away to safety, and by the end of it, the last Deadpool, quote unquote, standing is Baby Pool, who just laughs at them because they turn around and all the Deadpools have the regenerative factor. That's why they all wear the mask. So they all just regenerate. But then it's at this moment where we get another Deadpool variant who comes in to save them. It's Peter Pool, played by Rob Delaney. Peter Wisdom, the character, tells them all that it's okay. This Deadpool is with us. You know, he's one of the good ones. And they're all like, Peter, yeah, Peter. Every Deadpool has a Peter in their universe, and he's awesome. And that's it. That's how they get out from doing another battle.
And it's so fucking funny how everybody just goes up to Peter and loves him. Because I did not remember him at all, but so it was a little surprise for me.
Yeah. So if nobody remembers from Deadpool 2, Peter's there very, very briefly, but he dies because that's just what happens in X-Force. And if you don't know how he dies, I think he falls in a wood chipper. And Deadpool's pretty horrified. The whole team dies in X-Force, but then but the entire time though, they kind of have this like, not unspoken, but like Deadpool is like very fond of Peter, and he calls him Sugar Bear. That's what he calls him. And Peter, of course, is very nice. The thing is, Peter doesn't have any powers, so I don't know why he had him join X-Force in the first place. And so whenever he was doing his time traveling shenanigans, he went back and saved X-Force, pretty much.
And also, Peter's a freaky motherfucker.
There's a joke in there where Peter talks about how he has a friend who has nipple chains, piercings that go together, and then it runs together down into his dick, and and yeah, it's crazy. But then later we get him and another Deadpool character from Deadpool 2, Yukio, who is the partner of Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She starts pulling on the chain, and he's like, "Oh, ah!" And they're all laughing, like, "Oh, what's that?" And he's like, "That's the fun of it. Like, what are you doing, dude?" It's pretty crazy. But yeah. And also, Peter Pool's suit is very tight. You can see his dick. It's very funny.
Yes, very, very much so. Penis on display.
So they're fine. Paradox tells Wolverine and Deadpool that one can disrupt the flow of the Time Ripper at the cost of their life. So they both use Deadpool and Wolverine use their bodies as conductors to destroy the Time Ripper, which in turn kills Nova. Paradox is very surprised about this because they initially thought it was going to be one person, but it was two. Also, too, during this moment, Wolverine loses his top half of his uniform, so it just shows his awesome rippling abs and body, which it's a callback to how many times he's been shirtless in all the Wolverine performances he's done. And then at the very end there, Paradox is arrested by Hunter B-15, who is the one who heads the TVA at this moment, which is why I don't know if that was something that happens in season 2 of Loki, because Hunter B-15 was in season 1. I remember that.
And she's super into Peter.
There's like a moment where she's like really into Peter because she's about to like send them back to their respective timelines or whatever. But then Peter's like, "Oh, please don't do that," whatever. And then she's like, "Okay, sexy." She does call him sexy at some point. It's pretty crazy. Fun. And then Paradox even says, "What the fuck is happening here?" It's really good. Deadpool requests B-15 to return the others, the ones in the Resistance in the Void, to the respective timeline, while the latter reveals that Deadpool's timeline is no longer deteriorating. Wolverine hopes for change in his past, but B-15 tells him that his past is what makes him the anchor being needed to save Deadpool's timeline, and there's no reason for further change. Wolverine, who wishes to retire and live a peaceful life, is taken by Deadpool to meet his friends, along with Laura. On Wolverine's encouragement, Deadpool reconciles with Vanessa, and that's how it ends. I do think it's interesting here because after saving the timeline and Wolverine being in this timeline, now he's the anchor being, which goes to show that maybe the practices of the TVA putting people in the void, and rather that maybe you can take certain heroes from there and put them in different timelines to save those timelines. I think that's an interesting idea. I don't know if that was something that was explored in season 2. Again, but I think that's cool.
Yeah, it just feels like there's so many possibilities, but at the same time, it also feels like this is the end of a certain story, and that is the story of this timeline. I feel like we're not really going to see this timeline again, maybe just like a cameo. But I don't think we're going to get any real meat from this ever again.
I don't know. Who knows? Also, too, we do get an edit in a post-credit scene, and that scene is so amazing. It doesn't set up for anything, but it's easily one of the most perfect scenes because Deadpool is back at the TVA and he says, "Look, I don't." He's trying to explain like, let's just clear up the air about what happened with us and Johnny Storm while we were being taken to Nova's lair. So they go and it shows there's a camera in where they were being held, and everything that Deadpool said to Cassandra Nova, he actually did say about her. And the entire time we just kind of assumed that Deadpool was just saying some wild shit for no reason. And turns out he did say it. It was so freaking funny.
Yeah, and it was extremely worth it to sit through it.
It was. It was. But yeah, that's Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, there also was archival footage from Thor: The Dark World. If anybody remembers Thor holding Loki, well, in this scene, instead of Loki, it was Deadpool they used briefly.
But it was implied that's a future event.
Yeah, they said that's something that happens in the future where Thor is holding Deadpool and he's just he's crying and sad and they're both beaten and dying. And the entire time, anytime Deadpool is sleeping and he wakes up, he always mentions Thor because he's having a dream about Thor, which that also too could be a different timeline scenario because remember the dreams in the MCU are them dreaming about variants of themselves in other timelines. So he could be thinking about his variant in another timeline that had this thing with Thor. So yeah, but yeah, there we go. What do we think?
I had a lot of fun with it, and I know that sounds weird coming from someone that absolutely fucking hated Thor: Love and Thunder. I think this movie rules because the jokes were in it, because it's Deadpool. It's the source material of Deadpool being a wacky motherfucker, having fun. This has no source material of like a structure that we should be following or should have an idea of. Unlike Thor: The Dark World, Love and Thunder. Thank you, Taika, for fucking tarnishing one of the best Marvel stories, but whatever.
Yeah. So, if nobody's listened to it, we do have an episode reviewing Thor: Love and Thunder. It's way back in the backlog.
I bring that up because one of the hurting points of the Thor: Love and Thunder was the jokes, how many there were, how fucking bad the jokes were, and that's low effort the movie was in general. While I feel like this movie was the opposite of the spectrum, where the jokes had effort and the CG was great. That was another thing, and there was no stupid fucking nepo baby scene where all your kids are superheroes now.
Yeah, the scene where the character's kid or the actor's kids are is used for a genuinely funny and very short scene. Yeah, so that was episode 275. We reviewed Thor: Love and Thunder. Spoiler, we did not like it. We hated it, actually. As Colt says, if nobody knows, Thor: Love and Thunder was supposed to be based on the God Butcher storyline of Thor, written by Jason Aaron. It's a very good, probably one of the best comics and storylines in comics and in Marvel. Go check it out if you want to read it. And when they said they were going to adapt it, we were very, very excited. But then what we got was this very unserious, comedic, kind of low effort mess. And that's what made me and Colt very especially upset about it. With Deadpool, it has a lot of jokes that are very good. They're very funny. And this isn't really based off of anything besides Deadpool. There's really no source material besides this character and some maybe story beats or themes from multitude of things, but it's not meant to adapt anything specifically besides his character. And you had a lot of people writing a fairly original story. So again, they multiple people, like they knew how to hit the emotional beats. They knew how to, even if it was just a bunch of comedy, it works because again, it's not they're not taking a serious story and messing it up, so yeah, like as Colt says, that's why we have to compare the two, because that was one of the big things about Thor: Love and Thunder, was because of how much comedy it was in it and in how silly it was. With this movie, it's silly, but it's purposefully and effectively and as it's supposed to be used. And it's still brutal.
Yeah, extremely fucking brutal. Like I said, I want Marvel to make more R-rated films because the fucking brutality here was so fucking peak. It was so good.
And the thing is, too, is that Deadpool and Wolverine, I would put on the weirder side of Marvel, with like it being outside of what they usually do. And then again, they need to, in my opinion, do that more. There's even a joke where Deadpool says that they're joining the MCU at a low point right now, and that's actually true. Right now, this point of Marvel is considered the lowest point. Very low ratings and just poor overall reception.
I'm kind of hoping that this will lead to the creation of movies that are not necessarily connected to the main timeline. And if they do, I don't want them to always include the TVA. TVA is not needed for that. Just create movies or series that are in their own fucking universe and they don't have to connect to anything. I think it would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, the TVA were needed for this movie because of all the hopping and stuff. I just think the TVA as a story tool is useful for the MCU now. Like they have a way to really bridge that gap if anybody wants to question it,
Yes, but also I'm a little worried they'll abuse it and it just becomes overused and there's really no. That was one thing. It just feels like there's no consequences of death when it comes like to series. It's not just an MCU thing. I'm not into the multiverse stuff as much anymore. It was a fun concept, but now that I've seen so many fucking multiverse things, there's no weight to death.
Yeah, I mean, you're not the only one that holds that. I mean, I don't really, I don't know. Like, I don't really care. Like, because I get it, but at the same time, if we're following, if anything, it just feels very, I'm trying to think of the right word. I don't want to say convoluted, but it's kind of convoluted, kind of confusing, kind of weird, and not in a good way. So I guess that's wrong of me to say that I don't care. I do care. Because if you're having characters die in this universe, so does that mean these characters exist in this other universe? How will they come back? If we're pulling characters from other universes, like how does, like, again, like I mentioned before, I do think the idea of like characters being repurposed to help other timelines is an interesting one. And at the same time, I do think it's funny how to get rid of these other properties, they just get thrown into the void, which is a joke in and of itself. But no, I see what you're saying, and that's a criticism and a feeling that a lot of people have. That's very common. But
yeah, other than that, like I said, this movie's fucking awesome. It's the best Deadpool movie in my opinion. It's the best Marvel movie they've released in years. I haven't seen the Marvels, but still.
Yeah, I agree. It's the best Deadpool. It's the best Marvel movie in a while. I definitely want to catch up on the movies and the shows, because it is, it is a property or a franchise that I am still kind of invested in. It's just, like we said before, and like everybody, we're feeling kind of, tired of it, but this is great. Great comeback to it. I don't think that anything after this could be, this will prove that it will be great or anything living up to this level but you're kind of inching me back into it, which I would think that was something that Kevin Feige said, is that they're going to calm down on how many shows and movies are going to put out a year, which they should have done that forever ago.
Work on the fucking quality, not the quantity. Same thing with Star Wars. Just slow down. You're wasting money.
But yeah, it's great. My rating for it was 4.5 out of 5 stars. I loved it.
Same here, 4.5 out of 5. Really, really enjoyed this film.
Should also say too, I forgot about this, about the opening fight scene. I said it was a dance number. They were doing it. There were cuts of Deadpool dancing to NSYNC's
Bye bye bye.
Bye bye bye. It was very good. But yeah. So thank you for listening. If you want to check us out, we're on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, everywhere. All You Can Hear podcast. Leave us a rating, a review, a like. We appreciate it. It really helps us out. Any feedback, we do listen to it. Follow us on Twitter at AYCH Podcast. Follow the Backlog Boys Pod. Follow Cage and Greatness, Instruction Booklet. Follow all of our other podcasts and shows that we have. They're great. Follow us on Blue Sky, aychpodcast.bsky.social. Follow us on Instagram at AYCH Podcast. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear. Follow us on YouTube, All You Can Hear, where our VODs from our Twitch are, including the instruction booklet as well. And lastly, you can follow me, Wenzel, on Twitter at Wenzel Wilkey. Follow my art, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky as worldofwenzy. Follow my Bookstagram, Wenzel Banters, and my Linktree has links for everything.
And my name is Colt. Follow me on Twitter at ColtD00, Blue Sky, ColtD99. Just keep Deadpooling. That's what the kids are saying.
Yeah, go Wrexham.
Shibby.